Head Coach David Dean, weekly press conference ahead of the West Alabama game, homecoming week at West Georgia. Wolves are 7-0. Coach Dean will open up with a statement and then open up for questions.
Well, we're excited about being back home. Obviously having a homecoming crowd come to watch us play. I've heard from a lot of former players that have contacted me about coming back, left me messages saying that they look forward to coming to the game and watching our guys play. So it'll be good to see a lot of those former players back. But the task at hand is the University of West Alabama, a team that's very good. Defending conference champions, obviously, they have a lot of guys back from that football team and are playing good football right now. So it's going to be a great challenge for us. It's going to be big for us to go out and play well, get off started fast, and hopefully make some plays early in the game and gain some confidence on what they do and how they play. So we're hopefully up for the challenge. And after one day of practice, I think we've responded and gotten rid of the game last week, which was a huge win for us. But anytime you get to this late in the year and you're playing as a 7-0 team, every game is important, and they get bigger and bigger as each week goes. And hopefully our guys are going to handle it and approach it in that manner.
Coach, how did it feel for you guys this past Saturday to go down to Pensacola and not only win, but in the manner in which you won, like pretty much shutting them out in the second half? Well,
I was very proud of our defense, obviously. They played an outstanding football game. That's a good offense, and that's an offense that was held to 7 points. It does not happen very often. I was really proud of our guys for shutting down the run. We kind of made them one-dimensional. We took a lot of the short passing game away and forced them to have to throw the ball deep, and they hit some big plays deep-wise, but we also made some good plays. So outstanding game from our defensive standpoint, but our offensive line played very well. We played a defensive front that rolled a lot of guys in. They probably played anywhere from about 10 to 14, I would guess. Not going back and counting it, but I think 10 to 14 defensive linemen, and we played our 5 guys pretty much the entire game. And they played outstanding football. Obviously, with Devontae rushing for 220-something yards, they played an outstanding football game up front. So we didn't play as well special teams as I'd like. We gave up 2 big kickoff returns that we need to correct. We didn't really get our big punt return going. Their punter did an outstanding job. We never got an opportunity to get a kickoff return as well because of their outstanding kicker, all-conference kicker kicking the ball in the end zone. But for the most part, I think it was from 3 phases, we played a very good football game. And that was great to see, especially this late in the year.
Your team keeps climbing up in national rankings with each win that you get. Are there any additional pressures or any sort of different mannerisms in terms of how your players and the coaching staff is handling themselves with being a higher-ranked team nationally? Or is it just business as usual?
Well, we try to treat it as business as usual, but I don't think the rankings put the pressure on you. I think it's more being undefeated, and as the season goes on, you're the number 1 team in the conference. It's holding on to that number 1 spot in the conference because when you get up there, everybody wants a piece of you, and you know you're going to get everybody's best, and they're going to play their best football against you. So, we don't look at the rankings that much. I think there's, like I said, more pressure coming from remaining undefeated and keep climbing and keep working towards being the Gulf South Conference champion.
Obviously, Devontae cemented himself at the top of the career rushing list. You've been around this program for many, many years. Just how cool is that to him to see that?
Well, I'm really proud of him for the person that he is. He's a humble person. He doesn't make a whole lot of noise about breaking either of the records that he broke, the all-purpose yards and then the rushing yards. As a matter of fact, when I was in the locker room after the game, I had no idea that he broke it. He didn't say anything. Nobody else in the locker room, maybe they didn't know it either. I'm not real sure. I didn't find out about it until I was on the bus ride back home. And that's just the kind of guy he is. So I'm always pulling for guys that react that way, that it's about the team and it's not about themselves. And that's why I'm so proud of him and what he's done. But I will say this, there's guys on our football team that have blocked for him for 3 or 4 years. And there's guys that are no longer part of this program that block for him. And I'm sure if he stands up right here, he'll give those guys credit as much as himself for breaking that record, because he has had a string of very good players in front of him on that offensive line that have helped him get that record.
Coach, fans and media sometimes talk about things like revenge and whatever. We're playing West Al. They've got us 2 in a row. Does that something like that ever come into play for players as they prepare for a ball game?
I really don't think it does. That was last year. I think if it was a situation where you have an opportunity to play them again in the playoffs, then it's more of a revenge. But new team, there's new faces out there. A lot of guys that were playing in this game last year are gone. I would imagine that the guys that played in that game do remember certain situations. The hurt probably is still there. We know that they're the defending conference champions. I think that plays more into it from a last year standpoint than anything else. But again, we're more focused in on remaining undefeated, doing what we have to do each and every week, which is what I'm really proud of our guys doing. They're focused in on week to week the next opponent and not looking ahead and not living on what's happened in the past. And this is really the first big test that we have, because we played a very physical football game against a top 10 team in the country and won on the road. And now we're playing another good physical football team back-to-back coming off of that big win. I'm really looking forward to seeing how our guys respond in that manner. Can they put that behind them and look forward to exactly what we need to do this week to win?
What's standing out about that West Alabama defense, particularly the rush defense, only giving up 3.1 yards per rush? I think they're leading the conference or something like that. What's standing out about that front seven for you guys?
Well, they're good. I mean, they have a linebacker, I think that was the Gulf South Conference Defensive Player of the Year, and he's back, and obviously he's making play after play after play. They run to the football. They're relentless in their effort getting to the football. They do a lot of twisting up front, which causes you some confusion, forces things to bounce, uses their speed in the secondary and linebackers to come up and make plays. So the thing that we've got to do is we've got to recognize those twists, stay on our blocks, and continue to open up those holes. And when we go to pass protection, we got to bump things off. We got to do a great job of communicating up front and making sure that we don't turn anybody loose to get back to our quarterback. But again, I think it's all going to come down to recognizing what they do and kind of controlling them and taking them out of the things that they like to do, which is use their speed. And if we can increase those guys up front and get into the secondary, we've got a chance to make some plays. But our wideouts got to play a great football game this week. I mean, they do a good job in their zone coverage. They don't really allow you to get deep. They've had some deep balls thrown on them, but it's balls that they have tipped that have just bounced the wrong way. In particular in the North Greenville game, they had 2 crazy plays that North Greenville got to set up the touchdowns that gave them the lead and then the ultimate lead at the end of the game. Those were just 2 fluke plays. They just don't give up a lot of big home run plays, and we've got to be very methodical and be patient in catching things underneath and doing what we've been doing, making yards after the catch.
On the defensive side, we've seen Harry Satterwhite pretty much since he started. I think one of the first games he played in was against us in 2015. He's presented challenges for us in his career. What are you seeing out of that offense?
Well, one thing that's happening with Harry this year is he got injured, so he missed 2 or 3 games, which you hate to see that for any player, but especially a player of his caliber, because I'm sure that their offense relies on him and his playmaking ability so much. And you think back to last year, what he did to us, just escaping so much, running the football and getting first downs, making great throws under duress. He's just been a great player, and there's a reason why he's a conference player of the year. But the thing that is frustrating, I'm sure, for him is he's not 100%. He's wearing a big knee brace. He obviously had something happen to his knee earlier in the year. You could see him last week. I think for the first time he played in 2 or 3 weeks against Delta State. He's moving around, but he's not moving around as well as he has in the past. But he's still making great throws. And I think they've kind of probably had to limit down him running a little bit and making some zone read types things, because they probably can't afford to have him take a shot on that knee. But the big thing is we've got to put pressure on him. If he's not mobile, and we'll find that out on Saturday, if he's not very mobile, we got to hem him up in the pocket and force him to make throws and not get out onto the perimeter and make plays like he did last year. All right. Thank you.